So welcome everyone. Today's workshop is focused on posture, developing awareness of how we hold our bodies, as well as developing core strength, which is a pretty key component in having good posture. So we're going to start with a little bit of breath work and body awareness, and then we'll move into some simple postures and sequences that you can do anytime, like in the morning or if you need a little break. I'm going to make these kind of short little sequences so that if you don't have a lot of time, but you want to do something for yourself, you can just do a little segment and it'll be, just a few minutes of your time, but at least it's something that you can do throughout your day or in the morning or in the evening to help develop this strength and awareness. Okay, so these workshops are going to be a little bit more informal, so you're welcome to ask questions at any time. We're welcome to have a discussion at the end of class, and there'll be a little bit more talking and explaining than in the previous recorded classes that we've done. Okay, so the idea is that this is a class that you can come back to throughout the month. And then on the third Fridays of every month, we'll have a meditation circle. That's going to be 30 minutes, same thing, 10 a.m. to 10:30. This is going to be an hour class today, though. And that will be a chance for us to just meditate together and do a little bit of a check-in, a little bit more sharing and discussion midway through the month. Okay, so let's start with just a little bit of breath work. I want you to find a comfortable seated position. I'm going to grab my yoga block. You don't have to have a yoga block, but if you do have one, you can sit on it if you like. So let me back up so you can just see how I use mine. So I like to sit on it with my feet kind of framing the block. You can also sit cross-legged or in a chair, right? A lot of people don't actually feel comfortable sitting on the floor, even if they have a block. So you can always sit in a chair, sit on a cushion, whatever you want, whatever feels comfortable for you. It's really good to just find what works for you. Try different things. And I find that I feel best sitting on a block. So take a deep breath in once you're sitting. Sit up nice and tall. Just a big exhale through the mouth. Good. And again, deep breath in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. And one more time, just like that. Deep breath in. Exhale out. Good. From here, just allow your eyes to flutter closed, or if you prefer, you can just let your gaze settle on one point, just a soft gaze out, or close the eyes. And just start to tune your attention into your body, like you're drawing your attention within, noticing your breath, what it feels like to breathe. Noticing your body, any sensations in your body. And I just realized I forgot to introduce myself, so I'm sorry about that. My name is Julie Malari. I've been teaching yoga here at Nectar for about 8 years now. And I'm happy to be here teaching live classes once again. So let's just take some time to tune into our bodies. I want you to notice, without moving your body, just notice how you feel physically. Okay, so again, not moving anything or changing anything. But notice if any parts of you feel uncomfortable. Your knees, your hips, your back. Just tuning in to any sensations, kind of like you're scanning your body up and down and just noticing what's there. And it might be something really subtle. Right now, I notice that I'm tensing my eyes a little bit. I tend to do that. Sometimes people clench their jaws or tighten their shoulders. And then notice the alignment of your spine. So again, we're not changing anything right now, just noticing kind of your natural state of sitting and holding yourself. Where are your shoulders in relation to your hips? Are they hovering above the hips? Are they in front or behind? Where is the crown of your head in relation to your heart? Is it right above the heart, a little bit forward or back of the heart? And then where is your heart in relation to your tailbone? Is your heart above the tailbone, in front or behind? So kind of visualizing in your mind, using your imagination to see this. And then lastly, just noticing your breathing. Does your breath feel like it's flowing in and out really easily? Or does it feel a little constricted or tense? Okay, and then from here, if there's anything you would do to adjust your body or your breathing, what would it be? And then go ahead and make those adjustments. So for example, I noticed that I lean forward a little bit, my shoulders round slightly, and my chin comes forward. So I'm going to draw my head back a little bit so my chin tucks slightly towards the chest. I'm just going to relax my shoulders down and back and get my shoulders right above those hip bones. So try to feel into that alignment, shoulders over the hips. And then the crown of your head over the heart over the tailbone. Feel your lower body grounding into the floor. So actually feel those points of connection with the ground, with the earth that is supporting you and holding you here. And then feel the crown of your head floating up towards the ceiling. As if your head is a balloon filled with helium and it's just floating up to the ceiling, and your spine is the string of the balloon. And as your head floats up, the string and your spine come into a natural alignment. Okay. So we're not lifting the chin, we're just keeping the chin slightly tucked and lifting from the crown of your head. The crown of the head is not the very center top point of the head, but it's about an inch or two behind the center top point of the head. So it's like you're lifting through the upper back corner of your head. Okay, and then allow your breath to flow. So I noticed that my breath was a little bit short. So let's just follow the breath now. Mm-hmm. Oh, hi, welcome. Hi. Welcome, Shiwang. We're just practicing sitting with a healthy posture and alignment. So just find a comfortable seat, either on the floor, on a block, on a chair. And sit up nice and tall, shoulders relax down and back. Shoulders are over the hip bones. Crown of the head over the heart. And the heart over the tailbone. And breathe here. Follow your inhale all the way to the top. And you'll notice the breath pauses for a little bit at the top before the exhale begins. Follow the breath down the exhale to where it pauses. before the inhale begins again. So for the next half minute, let's just breathe, focus our attention on following your breath. I like to imagine the breath as a wave, and as I inhale, I can see myself coming up the wave. And then at the top of the wave, that's where the breath pauses, and you crest over the top of the wave, and then the exhale begins, and you go down the wave to where the breath pauses at the bottom, and then the inhale. So for the next half minute, allow yourself to follow the breath and allow each breath to be as long as it wants to be. Okay, so we're not going to strain the breath, but we want each breath to be full and deep and relaxed. And what does it feel like to breathe? What does it feel like to pause and to slow down? What does the inhale feel like? And what does the exhale feel like? And from here, we're going to engage what's called Ujjayi breathing. So I'd like you to constrict the back of your throat as you breathe through your nose. So you can pretend that you're breathing like Darth Vader, sort of that breathy breath. So it sort of sounds like the wind or the ocean. There's a little bit of constriction in the back of your throat that creates this sound. I'm going to come close so you can hear it. That's a little bit exaggerated, but that's the quality of sound. It's like a sigh, but the mouth is closed. So let's take a few more breaths like that, holding your body in this really nice, tall, healthy posture. How does it feel to sit with this alignment? The head floating up like it's filled with helium. The breath is deep, slow, steady. And then we'll bring the hands together in front of the heart. And just feel the palms touching, the root of the thumbs at the center of the chest. Tuck the chin slightly. And just take a moment to pause, to welcome yourself to your practice, and just to acknowledge yourself for showing up and for doing something good for yourself today. And when you feel ready, you can blink your eyes open, look down at your fingertips, and then release the hands. Okay. So I just want to check in and see how that was for you. Did anybody have issues either with sitting or with finding that Ujjayi breath? You can unmute, or you can also type it in the chat. And Shi Wang, how do you pronounce your name? Is it Shi Wang?
So my name is Xiaoli. Somehow it just it got my email account name there. It's not my name. My last name is Wang.
Okay, Xiaoli.
Xiaoli. So yeah, it just shows you the first two letters.
Okay, thank you. How was that for you?
It was great.
What, were you able to do the Ujjayi breathing, like constricting the back of the throat?
I think so.
Okay, we'll practice it throughout the class. Thank you.
Thank you.
How about for you, Jackie?
mean, it took me a little bit of time to get a good sitting position because my hips are a bit tight
Mhm.
always, and like I could feel like my left hip was a little tighter, and so kind of just moving around a little bit to get that comfort and get them both kind of settled at the same height was good for me. But yeah,
Okay, great. Were you sitting on the floor or were you sitting in a chair?
on the floor with a block, which that was a great tip.
Okay, great. And just another tip, like if you happen to have two blocks and you want to sit cross-legged, it helps sometimes to put a block under each, especially if they're uneven. So if I had a second block, I could put it here. I find for my knees, it's just better for me to sit on a block. So that's just another thing you could try.
Okay.
Okay. And then how was the Ujjayi breath? Could you feel into that? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. All right, thank you. Let's go ahead and get some movement in. So we're going to actually start standing up. So go ahead, come to your mats. Okay. And we're going to come into what's called Tadasana. So actually, before we do that, let's just get a little bit of movement in our legs. So bring your feet comfortably apart, about one leg's width apart. And we're just going to bend. My toes are kind of angled out. And just go ahead and bend each knee side to side like you're stretching through the inner thighs here. So as you bend into one knee, stretching through the opposite inner thigh, and then the other. And then from here, we're going to come back up to stand. Bring your feet about hip width apart. Little bend in the knees. And again, shoulders are over the hips. We're going to take a moving twist. So you're just going to twist side to side and allow your arms to just hit against the body gently. So feel your feet planted into the floor. The knees are slightly bent. And then you're swinging side to side. You can pick up the speed, the momentum just a little bit. And just visualize the spine coming into a gentle twist each time that you turn to the side. And then we're going to slow it down until we're just standing still. Okay. From here, we're going to come into what's called Tadasana. This is essentially just a standing position. We're just standing, but we're doing it with a lot of intention. So first of all, just stand how you would normally stand. Okay. This is how I would normally stand without really thinking about it. And now we're going to stand in Tadasana with a lot more focus and intention. So look down at your feet, lift your toes off the floor, and then spread your toes. And notice how that kind of activates the muscles in your feet. Okay? And then relax your toes to the floor. Let's try that again. So lift your toes, spread your toes, and then relax your feet. Now pay attention to what happens, what's activating in your feet when we do this again. So lift your toes and feel the inner arches of your feet lift up when you do that. And then spread your toes just a little bit, not too much. And then see if you can just gently place your toes on the floor without collapsing the arches of your feet. So you're still feeling kind of activated in your feet here. Okay? So it's kind of like your feet are waking up, like they're little suction cups drawing energy up from the earth. You can imagine that. And then imagine that energy is drawing up your legs, up your kneecaps, and lift your kneecaps ever so slightly so that it activates your quads, your thighs. Okay, so lift your kneecaps slightly, not so much that you're like locking your knees out, but it's just, one of my teachers used to describe it as like your knees are smiling. So just lift those kneecaps, feel the quads engage, so they're a little firm, and then continue to draw that awareness, that energy up through the hips. Place your hands on your hips like this. And imagine that your pelvic bowl is filled with water. And if you were leaning too far forward like this, the water would spill out from the front. But if you're leaning too far back and pushing your hips forward, the water spills out from the back. So you want to keep that water level. And so find that angle of your hips. So we're not overarching the back and spilling forward, and we're not tucking the tailbone too much. Yeah, find that neutral position in the hips. Okay. And again, if you want me to check your posture, feel free to put your video on, but you don't have to. Just a suggestion. Draw the energy up the belly, up the lower back, and then feel this area just engage slightly. Okay, we're not like tightening everything up so it's uncomfortable, but we're just aware of it. Maybe the lower belly draws in slightly. And then keep drawing the attention up through the shoulders and feel your shoulders relax down and back, right over those hip bones. You might even do like a little shoulder circle. And then place the hands beside you, palms facing forward, and spread your fingers gently. So I'll come forward so you can see this a little better. Okay. And then lastly, lift up through the crown of the head, so that upper back corner of the head, as if the head's filled with helium. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see. Crown of the head over the heart, over the tailbone. Okay, so take a deep breath here in Tadasana, breathing in, Ujjayi breath. Breathing out, Ujjayi breath again. Breathe in, your Ujjayi breath, constrict the back of your throat. Breathe out. Keep breathing like this and close your eyes and just draw your awareness into your body and notice what it feels like to stand in this way. Start at the bottom of your body, so feel your feet and how they're activated, and the inner arches of your feet are slightly lifted. And then we're drawing the attention up the legs and feeling the thighs engaged, the kneecaps slightly lifted, the pelvis in a neutral position, the lower belly and lower back gently engaged. The chest feels open, the shoulders relax down and back, and the crown of the head floats high. So it feels like, well, what does it feel like to you to stand in this way? Keep breathing. One more Ujjayi breath in and out. And what does it feel like to breathe really deeply in this way? Imagine that you're breathing all the way through your whole body, even into your toes. Imagine breathing into your toes. And breathing out. And imagine each time you breathe that your breath is expanding through the entire body and every single cell is receiving that oxygen. And you might even visualize like your body sort of relaxing and glowing as you breathe deeply. And just kind of memorize what this feels like. Take a little snapshot in your mind. What does it feel like to breathe like this? What does it feel like to stand like this? What's happening in my body? So that you can do this when you're not in your yoga class. Okay, and then remember how this feels. We're going to come out of it. And then I want you just to imagine that you're really tired and your whole body is just kind of relaxing. So maybe your chest comes forward and your energy is kind of melting down towards the floor. The shoulders slump forward. The knees bend a little bit. It's as if you were just kind of like really tired. Feel your energy sort of drop down towards the floor. If you're not sure what I mean, just take a look at me. Okay, hold this for a few minutes, like you're just really exhausted. Or maybe this is it's kind of how you stand when you're not really thinking about it, but a little more exaggerated. And how does it feel to stand like this? How does your energy change? Maybe even like your confidence change? Maybe it's more relaxing. Okay, and when I snap my fingers, we're going to come right back into Tadasana. Try to do everything that we just did from your feet all the way up to the head. So, and then come back into that nice tall posture. Feel your feet activated, kneecaps slightly lifted, shoulders down and back, like you're standing with confidence, like you're ready to move into the world and you're breathing deeply. Okay, and how does it feel to stand like this? All right, bring your hands together in front of the heart. Keep that Ujjayi breath going. As you inhale, Ujjayi breath, we're just going to reach the arms up to the ceiling. Imagine that you're moving through water, nice and slow. Exhale, bring your hands back to the heart. Ujjayi breathing, constricting the back of your throat. Inhale, stretch your arms out like a T. Imagine moving through warm honey. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, reach the arms up again. Exhale, hands to the heart. I'm just going to come forward so you can see a little bit better. Okay, but you're still standing. Inhale, stretch the arms out to the side. Exhale, hands to heart. So you're feeling everything. Do that one more time. Inhale, arms up. Moving with your breath. Exhale, hands to heart. And then inhale, arms out to the sides. Exhale, hands to heart. Okay. Now, just for comparison's sake, let's just move our arms in that same way, but without really thinking about moving with the breath and without really a lot of intention. So if you were just to move your arms up and down, you might say inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms, hands to heart. Inhale, arms to the side. Exhale, hands to the heart. Okay, do that another time on your own. And just notice it's totally different, right? It's a really different experience when you're not really fully engaged and paying attention. It's just mechanical. Let's try it now, doing it the way we did it earlier. So bring your hands to the heart. Take a deep breath in. Let's just pause for a moment. Ujjayi breath in. Feel your body. Exhale, feel your breath. And then let's try it. Inhale, reach the arms up. Like you're feeling everything moving through water. Like slow motion. Exhale, hands to heart. Notice how your body feels, your shoulders, your arms, your fingers. Inhale, arms out to the side. And exhale, hands to heart. Okay, beautiful. So release the hands and just keep that in the back of your head whenever we're moving through our practice. What it feels like when you're really paying attention, when you're connected with your Ujjayi breathing. It's a lot more effective. You can feel what's happening in your body more and you can tune in a lot more and you're just much more present in what you're doing. And these are things that we can take off of our mat into our lives. Like when we're going on a walk, instead of just like going on a walk, we might be noticing like, oh, it's so sunny, or that's a really pretty tree. And it just, it changes our experience of life. So let's now move into cat-cow. So we're going to come to the floor. Let me just do a time check. Okay. Come to the floor onto hands and knees, tabletop position. This is what it looks like. And if you're on a hard floor, I'm on carpet, so I'm fine. But if you're on a hard floor, you might want to place like a towel or a blanket under your knees if it hurts your joints. Or, little trick, take your mat, fold it on itself like that. And now you have 3 layers of mat instead of just one. Okay. I don't need to do it because I'm on a carpet, so I'm going to stretch it out. So bring your wrists under your shoulders. Look at that alignment, and then bring your knees over your hips. Okay? All right. Now, look down at your hands. Spread your fingers wide like they're stars, and press gently through the pads of your fingers. It's similar to what we were doing with our feet when we were standing up. And notice how your hands and fingers activate when you press down gently through the pads of your fingers. And then relax your fingers and relax your hands. Okay, and let's try that again. Spread your fingers wide, press the pads of your fingers into the floor. Notice how that feels, how it activates. And then just relax your hands and fingers and notice how that feels. Okay. So when we're relaxing our fingers, all of the weight goes right to the wrist, and it can aggravate the wrist, especially if you have I have tendinitis, so I have to be really careful, especially if you have carpal tunnel or something like that. So you want to spread those fingers wide, press through the pads of your fingers, and distribute your weight across your hands and fingers, okay? And activate those hands. Now imagine drawing the energy up like a suction cup, up through the palms of your hands, drawing that energy up the arms, through the shoulders, down your back, down the hips, and feel the crown of your head reaching straight forward, and there's a line going down the neck, spine, and out through the tailbone. So feel that straight line from the crown of the head, down the spine, through the tailbone. Take a deep Ujjayi breath here. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Okay. As you inhale, we're going to arch the spine and lift up through the crown of the head. Inhale, arch the spine and peek up towards the ceiling. This is called cow pose. As you exhale, round your back, tuck your chin, and tuck your tailbone. This is called cat pose, like a scared cat. Inhale, arch the spine. Look up towards the ceiling. Exhale, round and tuck. Pull your belly button up, scoop your tailbone under. Continue this on your own. Move with your Ujjayi breath. Again, you can imagine moving through warm water in slow motion and just feel everything. Notice how this feels. I can actually tell that my wrists are already getting a little bit tired. So I'm just going to do one more, and then we can rest. And then come back to a neutral position into tabletop. Okay, so the back is flat, everything is aligned. And then from here, tuck your toes and just sit back on the heels. Bring your hands a little closer to your body. And just take a breath here. So we're stretching the bottoms of the feet, the backs of your toes. And you can sway your hips gently side to side. And that will stretch the bottoms of your feet a little bit more. Okay. If your arms are tired like mine, you can come down onto your forearms like this and do the same thing, just gently swaying side to side. So pay attention. Notice, how was that for you? Were your arms, were your wrists tired, or were they fine? Did you notice anything within your body? Any areas of tightness? Maybe one side felt different than the other. So really just paying attention, kind of getting to know your own tendencies, getting to know your body. We get really disconnected from our bodies sometimes. So our yoga practice is a way to just tune in. Okay, so let's try that again. Coming back up onto hands and knees, but we're going to add a little variation. Untuck your toes and come into tabletop. Wrists under the shoulders, knees under hips. Spread the fingers. Okay, so let's try a couple cat-cows first. So inhale, arch the spine, look up. So this is just a really simple sequence and then exhale, round and tuck. just to bring some mobility, flexibility into the spine, the hips. One more time, inhale to arch. This is a really simple thing you can do in the mornings. Exhale, round and tuck. Inhale, come back to neutral. And now we're going to do lateral cat-cow. So as you exhale, look over your right shoulder towards your pinky toe and slide your hips to the left. You're going to feel a stretch in your left waist. Inhale, come back to neutral. Exhale, look over the left shoulder, slide your hips to the right. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, look over the right, slide your hips to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, look over the left, hips to the right. And then inhale, back to center. Okay, from here, let's just take a tiny little break in child's pose. So separate your knees, big toes touch, and then draw your hips to the heels. You can stretch your arms out, bring your forehead to the mat, or make a little pillow with your hands like this, with fists or hands like this. And take 3 breaths in child's pose. Okay, so this is a stretch to open the hips so the knees are apart. As you inhale, feel your belly expand between your thighs. As you exhale, feel your belly draw in towards the spine. And just giving yourself a moment to rest. Notice how it feels. Reconnect with that breath. Good. And then from here, let's come up onto hands and knees. And we're going to come onto our bellies. So walk yourself down onto your forearms, extend your legs out behind you, and untuck your toes. Okay, so we're going to come into Sphinx pose. This is Sphinx pose. The elbows are under the shoulders, so go ahead and just feel into that alignment. Elbows are under the shoulders. The forearms are parallel, and the fingers are spread wide. So I'll come closer. So it looks like this, but I'm on the floor, right? Forearms are parallel, fingers are spread. Okay. Now, spread those fingers, press very gently through the pads of your fingers, and lift up through the crown of your head. Imagine that you're balancing a bowl of water on the head. Okay, so you don't want to tuck your chin or the water will spill, and you don't want to lift your chin up too much like this because the water will spill behind you. So get your chin parallel to the floor. Get that water nice and level above your head. Feel your hands on the mat, your forearms on the mat, your hips on the mat, and your feet, tops of your feet and your legs on the mat. Now check in with your lower back. Does your lower back feel like it's crunching or like it's hurting? And if so, I want you to separate your feet a little bit more so that it's less compression for your lower back. If it feels okay, you can bring your feet about hip width apart. Okay, so again, we're tuning into the body. We're noticing how this feels, and then we're adjusting. Oh, take a deep breath in and find a point to gaze at right out in front of you in your line of vision. So something right around here so your head stays level. And just take a soft gaze. So your point of focus is called a drishti in yoga. That's your point of focus. And it's just a soft gaze out to help us maintain focus. Take a deep Ujjayi breath in and exhale out. One more time, breathing in. Draw your shoulders down and back. And then imagine that you're trying to drag your hands a little closer towards you so the chest comes forward between your arms. Take one more breath in. And exhale. Make a little pillow with your hands, one hand on top of the other. Separate your elbows and turn your head to the side. And just take a little rest here. Breathing in. And breathing out. One more time, breathing in. And breathing out. Good. From here, bring your hands underneath your shoulders. And we're going to come into baby cobra pose. So these are poses that are going to help to strengthen your back and also help you to keep the shoulders open. And when you're focusing on posture, these are things that you're keeping in the back of your mind. We're developing these muscles so that over time they're strengthened and we can stand and sit with better posture. Okay, so the hands, again, are right underneath the shoulders and the elbows hugging in towards your rib cage. Bring your forehead to the mat. Toes are untucked, pointing straight back. Now squeeze your shoulder blades together behind you and press the shoulders away from your ears. Okay, and then relax the shoulders. And then again, squeeze the shoulders and press the shoulders back. Hug the elbows to your rib cage. And then again, just relax, just so you can see the difference. Okay. Now, squeeze the shoulder blades together, press the shoulders down and back, and hug your elbows to your rib cage. Ooh, I notice how everything's kind of engaged in sort of this back side of your upper body. Press down through your hips and lift your chin and chest just 1 inch off the floor. So you're still looking down, and feel your shoulder blades squeezing together, the elbows hugging into your rib cage, and then lift up 2 inches off the floor. And keep looking down towards the mat. Breathe here. Inhale, Ujjayi breath. Feel your lower back working. Feel the shoulder blades working. Feel your breath moving in and out. And then on your exhale, just bring your forehead back down to the floor and relax your shoulders. We're going to try that one more time. Notice what areas of your body are engaging and strengthening here. So squeeze your shoulder blades together, press the shoulders down and back, hug your elbows to your rib cage, and then press through your hips and lift the chin and chest 1 to 2 inches off the floor. Breathe here. Keep the back of your neck long. The chin is slightly tucked. So oftentimes people will just kind of lift their chin, but that's not really doing anything for your back. You want to tuck your chin, and the lifting comes from the engagement of the muscles in your back and the shoulders. So bring attention to the back side of your body. Feel it working for you. Feel it strengthening. One more breath. And then exhale, lower down. Make a little pillow with your hands and turn your head the other way. Oh, and just breathe here. Okay. So if you have any questions so far, I want you to go ahead and feel free to ask. Otherwise, we'll move on, but I'll just give a moment here, a little pause to ask questions if you like. Okay. So let's come into back into Sphinx pose. We just did this. Elbows under the shoulders, forearms parallel, fingers spread wide. Okay, find a comfortable placement of your feet. We're going to do a little sequence to help strengthen our abdominals, our core, the front of our core. Okay, so from Sphinx pose, arms and hands pressing into the mat. What we're going to do is slowly peel our body off the floor, starting at the belly. So as you exhale, and you can watch me first if you like. As you exhale, I'm going to I'm going to engage my belly. So just kind of, it's kind of hard to explain, but kind of contract the muscles of your lower belly and start to peel your belly off the floor. So now my belly's off the floor, and now I'm going to peel my hips off the floor and then my thighs. Oh, so imagine you're scooping your tailbone under, and you're going to feel it right away if you're doing it properly. You're going to feel a little bit of shakiness. And notice that my hips are not lifted up high, right? My hips are in line pretty much with my head. And I'm scooping my tailbone under, and I'm really feeling this in my core. And then I'm going to slowly lower my thighs down first, and then my hips, and then my belly, and then I'm back into Sphinx pose. Okay? Let's try that again. So feel your hands and arms on the floor. As you exhale, draw your belly up off the mat, like you're peeling it off the mat. And then your hips, and then your thighs lifting off the floor. Deep breath in, hold here. Exhale, hold here. One more breath in. And then exhale, lower down. And come back into Sphinx. Good. One more time. Exhale, press through the hands, scoop your tailbone, peel your belly, your hips, your thighs off the floor. Breathe. Inhale, Ujjayi breath. Exhale, Ujjayi breath. Inhale. And exhale. Slowly lower back down. All right, let's come into child's pose and take a break. So come up onto hands and knees, separate your knees, big toes touch, and then draw the hips back. Stretch the arms out in front of you, forehead to the mat, or you can make a pillow with your hands, or use a yoga block if you have one. Take a little break here. Welcome back, Jackie. We just did that core strengthening sequence a couple of times, and now we're resting in child's pose. So here in child's pose, really deepen the breath. Anytime we're resting is a great opportunity to check in with your breathing. So inhale, feel that full deep breath in. Belly expands between your thighs. And then exhale, feel your belly draw in towards the spine. One more breath here. I'm going to do a time check. Okay, perfect. Okay. And then inhale, we're slowly come back up onto hands and knees. All right. We're going to come to a seated position. Take your time. We're going to come to a seated position like this. So feet are out in front. Knees are bent. Okay. So let's come into boat pose. This is another great pose to strengthen the core and help to develop better posture. So in boat pose, we're going to start with the knees bent, feet out in front, about hip width apart here. Hands behind your thighs. And then I want you to sit up as tall as you can. So I'll come forward a little bit. So the tendency here is to kind of round the back. We're going to inhale, lift up through the crown of the head like the head is filled with helium. Firm the shoulder blades down the back. Draw your lower back forward and draw your belly in. So it's kind of like your belly and your lower back are squeezing in towards your spine. Okay? You're going to feel this in your hip flexors. I can feel it already. So again, firm the shoulder blades down the back, lift through the crown of the head, tall spine, shoulder, collarbones nice and wide. Deep breath in. Find your drishti, your point of focus for your eyes. As you exhale, we're going to tilt back. Keep the spine nice and tall. Chest is open. And tilt back until your big toes lift maybe just an inch off the floor. And now you're really using your core, your lower back, your hip flexors, your belly to keep you here. You got this. Keep breathing. Ujjayi breath going. If this feels easy, you can lift your shins higher so they're parallel to the mat. One more breath in. Exhale. Bring the bottoms of your feet together. Interlace your fingers around the toes and just fold forward. Relax the head and relax the spine. We'll do that again in just a moment, but take a moment to rest here. Okay, so boat pose is a really nice pose to strengthen all of the core muscles. So not just your abdominals, but your hip flexors, your lower back, your abdominals. And these are all important things to help us develop the muscles needed for healthy posture. Okay, the core has to be really strong. Let's try that again. So inhale, come back up. Feet and knees hip width apart. Let's start with the hands behind the thighs. Inhale, sit up tall like you're sitting against a wall. Draw the shoulder blades down and back. Firm your shoulder blades down the back. Exhale, tilt back. Keep the belly engaged. Keep the collarbones wide. Float the toes off the floor. Breathe here. And you can stay here, or if you want a little bit more, you can lift your shins parallel to the floor. Make sure, though, that your back doesn't start rounding, okay? Keep the spine tall, collarbones wide, and imagine your heart is just shining up towards the ceiling, okay? So it's not kind of collapsing like this. It's opening wide. One more breath in. You've got this. Deep inhale. Exhale, bottoms of the feet together. Interlace the fingers around the toes and fold forward. Breathe here. One more breath. And exhale. Inhale, slowly come back up. Good. And let's come on to hands and knees. I just want to do a little stretching for the hips before we start to wrap up. So come into tabletop pose, just like we did earlier. And from tabletop, we'll come into a lunge. So step your left leg forward like this, okay? And then your hands can be on the floor. If you have yoga blocks, you can place your hands on your yoga blocks. Your left knee is over the ankle, okay? Not like this. If it's past the ankle, then you want to try to scoot your foot a little farther forward, like so. And then from here, we're just going to very gently rock side to side to open up the right hip flexor. Nice deep breaths here. The lunge is a really simple, easy way to stretch the hips. And oftentimes, especially if you do a lot of sitting throughout the day, the hips can get really tight. So don't forget to take a couple minutes to stretch the hips open. Okay. From here, let's come to pause in the middle. Walk your hands back and then just stretch the front leg as much as you comfortably can. It doesn't have to be all the way straight. If you want more, you can lift the toes. But essentially, we're just stretching the back of the leg. Take one more breath here. Good. And then bend the knee. And then let's switch. So bring that leg back. Bring the right leg forward. Again, scoot your foot enough so that when you drop your hips and bend your knee, so lower your hips as much as you comfortably can, the right knee is over the ankle. Okay? And then just for comparison's sake, draw your hips back and stretch the front leg, and then bend your knee. Okay. So when you're in that full bend as much as you comfortably can, the knee should be over the ankle. And then we'll rock gently side to side once again. Just exploring into that left hip flexor. Okay, you might notice one side's a little bit more tight as well. And then we'll come back to the center and let's extend the front leg, stretch the right hamstring, right calf, and you can lift your toes if you want a deeper stretch. Okay, but just notice how your body reacts to everything that you do. If you lift your toes and you're like, oh, that really hurts, don't keep doing it. Put it back down. I know it seems silly to say that, but how often people just want to do like the most that they possibly can and then they end up hurting themselves. And that's the ego getting in the way. In our yoga class, we just set the ego aside and we tune into what is. We tune into our bodies. We develop that healthy relationship with ourselves. Okay, from here, bend that front knee, bring the leg back. And let's come onto our backs now. Let's rest. So come down onto your back. Pull the knees into the chest and wrap yourself into a little ball. Bring the forehead towards the knees. Squeeze in tight, 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 tight. Tighten up your face. And then stretch the face, stick out the tongue, roll the eyes back. And then relax the head. And let's rest in Shavasana. Bring the legs straight, feet apart, toes to the sides, hands away from you, palms up. If you're cold, you can put on your socks or your sweater. And you can rock the head gently side to side before you let it rest in the middle. And just check in. How does this pose feel for you? If it hurts your lower back to lay flat, I want you to bend your knees, feet mat width apart, knees resting together in the middle like this. And notice if that relieves pressure in your lower back, okay? Either one is fine. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Big sigh out. One more time. And just breathing and resting here, breathing in and out through the nose. And just feeling everything settle and rest and relax after the last hour of the work that we've done. Allowing ourselves this time to just breathe and rest and be here. Nothing else to do. This is enough for now. As you inhale, feel your belly rise. As you exhale, feel your belly fall. Feel your body, feel your whole being at ease. I'll let you know when it's time to come out in a couple of minutes by ringing or by chanting the sound of Om. Om. Shanti. Peace. Begin to deepen the breath. Feeling your breath permeate through every single cell in your body, breathing into the crown of the head, down into the fingertips and the toes. Feel your whole body awake and alive. Feel connected to every part of yourself. As you breathe deeply and feel your breath moving in and out, start to wiggle your fingers and toes. Roll the hands and feet, waking the body. On your in-breath, find a big stretch. Reach the arms up, stretch the legs, point the toes. As you exhale, roll over to one side and take your time coming up to a comfortable seated position. You can sit on a block or a chair if you like, but remembering all of the little things that we did, lengthening through the spine, shoulders down and back, the alignment of your spine. And just pause at the top. Breathe. Notice how you feel after your practice. Notice how it feels to sit with this tall posture, this healthy alignment, shoulders over the hips. And find a little smile on your face as you bring your hands to the heart. And just thank yourself for making the time for you, for your health, for your well-being today. I know it's hard sometimes to find the time. So really honoring yourself for doing so. And tuck your chin slightly. And we'll finish with the word namaste. I honor the light in you that honors the light in me. Thank you so much for practicing and have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste. So thank you so much, everyone. I hope that you can come back to this practice throughout the month. Again, we're having one monthly class at the beginning, the first Friday of each month. I'll send this recording out so that you can continue to practice. I think it will be helpful to have like one practice that you come back to continuously so that you can really develop those foundational skills. And then we'll do a new class next month and I'll send the video out for that. The third Friday of each month, we're doing a meditation circle from 10 to 10:30 a.m. So I hope to see you for that. And that will be a little bit more interactive. And if anybody has questions, feel free to say them now. And actually, Jackie and Sholi, if you want to just share anything about how that was for you or if you have questions, feel free to unmute yourselves.